openly committed to destroying, and we're not going to sit idly by and let them do it.
So he's talking about how,
as the United States and Iran inch closer to a new nuclear deal,
how Iran is bent on destroying Israel. This is what he's saying, and this is his slogan, political slogan, to remain in power, because that way he can win votes in Israel. Netanyahu, he is playing it politics. He is doing nothing against Iran. He cannot do anything. He asked Biden administration for the sake of showing the whole world that he's doing something, but he knows Biden administration would not help him in any way, shape or form. This is why we have seen how Biden administration now, they are saying that if you want to get the F-35 fighter jet that you want to use against Iran to fight, to wage war, you have to wait for few years. When I say few years, I mean Biden administration is not going to be reacting, or he's not going to approve their request to have F-35 and attack Iran, because this is all political slogan. He's not going to do anything to Iran, looks like.
Israel seems to be strengthening its defenses and arming up as if preparing for war. Israel sees a nuclear-armed Iran to be an existential threat.
Yeah, blah, 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 all the time.
Early this month, Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu held a mock wartime meeting of his security cabinet in a high-tech underground secure bunker, which also hosts the National Crisis Management Center.
Okay, so let's talk about end of time and how this will all play out for the coming of the Mahdi that we talk about before the Qiyamah. We know that Israel's prophecy in the book of Daniel, they mentioned very, very clearly the name Ilham, and that basically refers to modern day Iran. According to the Daniel prophecy, they must get rid of Ilham because this is the city, this is the place where the Antichrist will be most active, and that Antichrist will work against Israel, the state of Israel, in order to protect the country, in order to protect their Masih, their country, their people. They must get rid of the city of Ilham in order to stop the Antichrist, the Dajjal that we call, to work against them. So when we talk about biblical prophecy before the coming of the Mahdi, as we know from our prophecy, from Islam, from Sunnah, Quran and Sunnah, we know that the place where the Dajjal will appear is going to be the Isfahan. It is actually quite the opposite. It is not Ilham that will work against the Yahudi. It is actually the place Ilham has really nothing to do with the destruction of the people of the Yahudi, the Jew at the end of time. It is rather the place Isfahan that will play a major role in terms of end of time fulfillment of those prophecies. Again, this is according to the Quran and Sunnah. This is what we believe. So when we see that Yahudis, they're trying so desperately to wage a war against Iran, at least at a political level, at least using that as a slogan. Remember, even though Netanyahu, he is using it as a slogan, but understand this, the people, the Zionists, they're ready, they're prepared to wage war against the Muslims anytime. It might not be Netanyahu, it is just his rhetoric and this hyperbole, but it is the Yahudi themselves, the Zionists, who are ready and willing to do the work for him.
Situated in Jerusalem, the bunker first caught media attention in 2018 when then Israeli PM Netanyahu decided to move all security cabinet meetings from his office to the facility amid a threat of escalation with Iran over the struggle for influence in Syria.
Yeah, that is so
In
true.
addition, communities in northern Israel are preparing shelters for a long-term conflict, and the military is working overtime on a new laser system to intercept rockets,
Unbelievable.
as per a report by Bloomberg. Washington and Tehran are negotiating an interim less-for-less nuclear deal through the Sultanate of Oman, which is centered around partial nuclear concessions by the Islamic Republic, in exchange for partial sanctions relief by the West. Under the deal, Iran would cease enriching uranium to a purity of 60% or above and continue cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog International Atomic Energy Agency, as per the Middle East Eye.
And of course, they make a big deal about the nuclear weapon that Iran has. The reason for that is because This is one of the ways, and I think is the way how Israel will justify going against Iran if they do, and they looks like they will. The Zionists, they will. This is the way that these people have nuclear weapon. We cannot tolerate, we cannot feel safe, blah 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 blah, and that we need to put more sanctions on them, and then we need to stop them, and then we need to attack them. This is something they have used for a very long time. Now we know that Biden administration, the US and many other countries, especially from Europe, they are saying, wait a second, if they have nuclear weapon, what's the big deal about this? We will at least try our best to help Iran not to get a nuclear weapon, and instead include them in the economy, in the world economy, lift all the sanctions. But at the same time, you see Israel is saying, no, that is not enough. We need to all be united against Iran, and they should never get a nuclear weapon. If the world fails to act on this, Netanyahu said many times in the past, we will go all by ourselves if we have to.
In return, Iran would be allowed to export up to 1 million barrels of oil per day and access to income and other frozen funds abroad. If negotiations bear fruit, it would be a significant breakthrough in salvaging the 2015 nuclear accord after former U.S. President Donald Trump scrapped it in 2018, following which attempts to revive it have failed and completely halted since September 2022.
Yeah, I mean, every administration in the United States, they're trying their best to appease Israel by saying, oh yeah, we are going to put sanctions, we're going to normalize your ties with the rest of the Arab countries except Iran. And we have seen how Donald Trump gave the Golan Heights to the Israeli authorities. Everything they're doing for Israel, nothing is enough. When was the last time you have heard Israelis saying, okay, we are feeling safe, okay, we are done, we need to live in peace with our neighboring countries? When have you heard that? Never. It is quite the opposite. It is the countries like Jordan, even Turkey, UAE, and of course Saudi Arabia now, they're saying, yeah, they're peaceful, Israel, we have no problem with you normalizing ties. All we want you to do is to recognize the state of Palestine, and there should be a two-state solution. That is the only thing they're really demanding. On the other hand, you have Israel never happy, never content with anything. It's just insane.
However, on June 13th, hours after Iran confirmed the negotiations with the U.S., Netanyahu seemed to downplay Israel's concerns about a possible deal. He dismissed it as a mini-agreement, not agreement.
Yeah, I mean, he's never happy.
As per reports by Wallah and Channel 13 news outlets, which cited several unnamed lawmakers who took part in the closed-door, 3-hour meeting of the Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee.
I mean, they will never be happy until they achieve their goal, which is eventually to fulfill all of their prophecies through proxies, through shadow war, through threat, through harsh rhetoric. They're ready to fulfill all of the prophecies that are being mentioned in their books, especially in the book of Daniel, of the prophecy about the end of time, how the Mahdi will come, how the Dajjal will come. In fact, they believe in the Mahdi, and they believe that the Mahdi is actually the Antichrist for them. Mahdi is a bad guy in Yahudi tradition, in Yahudi belief. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.